Good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me here at the First Alert Desk. My name's Karli Barnett. We want to give you a look at some of the stories that we are following for your Sunday. We know you're probably looking ahead to the week, trying to plan out your week. So in just a few moments, we're going to have First Alert meteorologist Cutter Martin joining me here. He can answer your weather questions, and he's going to give us a look at the week ahead. I will give you a little tease here. There are some pretty big changes on the way, and he is going to walk us through those. But in the meantime, I did want to give you a look at some of the stories that we are continuing to stay on top of and some of the stories that we can expect a little bit later on tonight. We hope you joined us at 6:30. If not, you can join us at 10 on Peachtree TV and 11 on CBS, or you can stream us on atlantanewsfirst.com. So either way, we hope to have you join us and we can keep you updated with a lot more on all of these stories. So let's go ahead and learn more about this first one here. You will remember that we have covered this case really extensively here at Atlanta News First. It was a case that many had thought went cold, and then 7 years later there was a break in that case. And tonight there was a vigil held to honor the life of Morgan Bauer. She was 19 when she disappeared back in 2016. She had only been in Georgia for about 2 weeks at the time of her disappearance. So I'm going to play out this video here. This is from a candlelight vigil that was held earlier this evening. Who you see speaking there is Sherry Keenan, Morgan's mother, and they all gathered there, her mother as well as loved ones and members of the Porterdale Police Department, to honor her life, to share memories, and to bring some sense of closure. She had said in this vigil, quote, "In the glow of these candles, I see reflections of the light that my daughter brought into our lives. She was a glowing beacon of joy, laughter, and unconditional love. And tonight, as we hold these candles, let them represent the warmth of her spirit that continues to shine brightly in our hearts." At one point, they all take a moment of silence. She continues to say, quote, "I truly don't know how to process that Morgan is not here or how to picture life without her. Even though it's been 8 years since she's been gone, for me, it feels like yesterday that I held her in my arms for the first time. My daughter's light may no longer be a visible flame, but that light lives on in our hearts of those who loved her. Tonight, let us honor Morgan's memory by committing to a life with the same kindness, compassion, and fun that she shared so freely." So those were just a few excerpts of that vigil that was held tonight. It was this time, in fact, in February of 2016, that she had disappeared. We'll play some images for you now to give you a recap of the case. It was 8 years later, in July of 2023, that a massive search took place at a home on Broad Street in Porterdale. That's in Newton County, which is about 36 miles east of Atlanta. Investigators at that time said they found items of evidentiary interest during the search, and the FBI Atlanta later confirmed those to be Bauer's remains. It was a few weeks after that that Jonathan Alexander Warren was arrested in Los Angeles, California, and Caitlin Goebel was arrested in Peoria, Illinois. In October of last year, the two were indicted in connection to Bauer's death. It's still unclear what relationship they had to Bauer, but indictment documents reveal that Bauer's cause of death was strangulation and that her body had been burned. In January of 2024, just 1 month ago, Warren was sentenced to life in prison without the possibility of parole after pleading guilty to malice murder, necrophilia, concealing the death of another, and tampering with evidence. Goebel had been indicted on the charges of malice murder, felony murder, aggravated assault, and tampering with evidence, as well as concealing a death. And according to the Newton County District Attorney, she will be in court in April. So it was in February of 2016 that Bauer had moved to Georgia from Aberdeen, South Dakota, and just 2 short weeks later had vanished without a trace. And her mother, Sherry Keenan, never let go of her continual search, never let go of her hope that she would get answers in her daughter's case. And tonight, at that vigil, they honored her life. And her mother had said that she still doesn't fully feel closure, and she doesn't think she will be able to feel closure until her remains are able to be brought home to South Dakota. But she said she is continuing to trust the justice process. And again, the latest that we will look ahead to after this will be a court appearance for the other suspect in this case, Caitlin Goebel. So, a continual sad story, but Atlanta News First is staying on top of those developments. This is a story that made national news, captured national headlines, and 7 years that it took to finally get some answers, and now 8 years later, a vigil being held to honor her life. Another life that we want to continue to honor is the one of Laken Riley, the 22-year-old former University of Georgia student, current, at the time, Augusta University nursing student. She was found killed on Thursday. On Friday, authorities arrested Jose Antonio Ibarra for her murder, and yesterday Ibarra went before a judge. Today, we are learning more about his criminal record and his immigration status. This is his mugshot right here. We have our reporter Bridget Spencer. She is going to be live for us in Athens. If you joined us at 6:30, you saw her coverage from there. But we are continuing to get more and more answers. As we have said before, this is very much a developing story. We know that this news has a lot more details that we are still working to figure out. But we wanted to share more about what we have learned about the suspect in this case, 26-year-old Jose Antonio Ibarra. He has been charged in the killing of Laken Riley. He was previously arrested back in 2022 after illegally entering the United States near El Paso, Texas, and that is according to a spokesperson for U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. They confirmed that with us today. Playing you exclusive video here from Atlanta News First of his arrest. Our cameras rolling when he was initially put into handcuffs and taken away in a police vehicle. Ibarra faces malice and felony murder charges among multiple other counts, including false imprisonment and kidnapping in the death of Laken Riley. Now, Ibarra was also arrested in New York City in 2023. That is according to Lindsey Williams, the same ICE spokesperson. Ibarra was a citizen of Venezuela, was arrested by U.S. Customs and Border Protection on September 8th of 2022 after, as we mentioned, unlawfully entering near El Paso. He was paroled at that point and released for further processing. And then it was on September 14th of 2023 that he was arrested by the New York City Police Department and charged with, quote, acting in a manner to injure a child less than 17 and a motor vehicle license violation. He was released by New York police before a detainer could be issued. So it's unclear when exactly he moved to Athens, Clark County, but that is where he was living at the time in the Argo Apartments, which are off South Millage Avenue. And he is now accused of murdering 22-year-old Laken Riley. His brother, Diego Ibarra, is also facing charges. According to authorities, he used a fake green card to try to get hired for a temporary position as a dishwasher at the Bolton Dining Hall back in February, but was fired after he, quote, failed to submit further documentation required to keep the job and was never paid by the university. So you will remember yesterday we talked about how Governor Brian Kemp had penned a letter to President Joe Biden asking specifically about the conditions at the border, about what is going to be done about, as the governor put it, a crisis happening at the border, and more about these asylum hearings and specifically asking about the Ibarra brothers. We do know that Diego Ibarra had been waiting for an asylum hearing, that he had claimed a credible fear of being returned to Venezuela. And so the governor had asked President Joe Biden about the status of these individuals and how this was able to transpire. But we do know a little bit more information today, and that is that Jose Antonio Ibarra, who has been charged with Laken Riley's murder, also had a criminal record, had apparently illegally entered the United States back in 2022, according to U.S. Customs U.S. Immigrations and Customs Enforcement, and also was arrested in September of 2023 in New York City, charged with acting in a manner to injure a child less than 17, as well as a motor vehicle license violation. So we are going to continue to stay on top of this news. Our reporter Bridget Spencer is out there in Athens this evening, and you can join us for further coverage this evening. So I know that we have shared a lot of heavy news, and I do acknowledge that. So I did this last night, and I do want to do this again to share something just a little bit lighter, a little bit more positive. This is a story that our reporter Joshua Skinner, I had mentioned it in a preview yesterday. And then we have his full story that aired about some controversial uniforms by the Braves. I'll play that for you now.
Yeah, it kind of feels a bit like a stand-up comedy routine. A lot of people have opinions on the new Fanatics Major League Baseball jerseys, or in some instances, the lack of a jersey. Everyone has jokes. Can you guys just state your names and spell it for us?
Hutch Clemens.
You spell it?
IT.
But Major League Baseball's new uniforms are no laughing matter.
They're looking a little rough. They don't look great. I'm not going to lie.
Okay, maybe they are.
It's interesting.
Major League Baseball is facing fan and player backlash for the quality of this season's uniforms.
Fanatics looks really cheap when you buy them online, right? They're the cheap jerseys, but I did not expect to see the things that we're seeing today.
Those things often leave little to the imagination, or in some cases, seem to come in sheer. Have you ever thought to yourself, I'd kind of really just like to know what's underneath the jersey of a baseball player?
Well, I can't say I've ever expressed these thoughts to others, but definitely thought them.
Major League Baseball claims the pants are the same thickness they've always been. The good news for Braves fans, Atlanta's uniforms will keep the iconic belt loop that has been in place since the 40s, even though the sleeves will look a little different. Regardless, it remains to be seen if fan backlash will cause any changes.
There's no way they're going to make it through this season with these jerseys. Not a chance.
At the Battery, Joshua Skinner.
Shout out to Sophie.
Dude, that's my sister's name.
Atlanta News First.
All right, just wanted to end there on a little bit of a lighter note, humorous story there. So, hey, remains to be seen what's going to happen with those uniforms. But who better to ask than the fans? They're the authority on this. So we want to go ahead and turn now to a live look outside. We're looking at Mercedes-Benz Stadium there. And Cutter, we want to know what we can expect for our work week ahead. Hard to believe we're already there, but it is upon us.
Kind of a loaded question with many answers.
A
lot of weather.
We can't wait to hear more about it.
Yeah, talk about a tease, right? We do have big changes on the way, multiple types of weather in the forecast. So the positive, we'll call it a spin, the positive spin on it is that we do have a little bit of something for just about everybody here across North Georgia. Metro Atlanta, the city of Atlanta, no matter where you are streaming from this evening, weather will be decent for times this week, and then a little bit more impactful, a little bit subpar, we'll call it, across other portions of the work week. Again, thank you for tuning in and for streaming Atlanta News First Plus. I'm First Alert Meteorologist Cutter Martin. Here with a check of your First Alert forecast. We will walk you through the rest of the work week, of course, just about to begin. So there is a lot to talk about. Just give me a moment here. I'm going to pull up my weather graphics, and just want to remind you that you can always grab the forecast in case you miss the rest of this stream. If you have to step away, or maybe you missed the late news tonight coming up on Peachtree TV, Atlanta CW affiliate, or on Atlanta News First WANF, you can always grab a check of that forecast in the First Alert Weather app. If you don't have the app, it's pretty quick and easy, and it's free. Just search First Alert Weather or Atlanta News First in your app or Google Play Store, and it's a really easy download. You answer a couple of questions to make sure that your app experience is as catered to your needs as possible. All right, with all that said, we're going to go ahead and begin with temperatures. It is cooling down outside after reaching the 60s this afternoon, though we were in the 30s this morning. So it was pretty chilly for a time, cold in fact, and then dry air sunshine really working some magic, and temperatures rebounded nicely. And I think tonight won't be as cold as it was last night. So that is some good news in the first alert forecast. If you don't want to wake up to frost tomorrow morning, if you don't want the heaviest winter coat, good news. I don't think there will be much in the way of frost, and I think that you can get away with maybe something just a little bit lighter out the door tomorrow morning. Not as cold tonight. Temperatures, though, coolest on the east side of town. You can see where those deeper blues are. Meanwhile, the west side, 54 in Dallas, 54 in Hiram, 57 up in the Ackworth community, again, just to the north and west of the city of Atlanta in particular. That thermometer is going to be actually just north of Ackworth and Cartersville. Ackworth not reporting at the moment, but 51 in Cumming, 50 in Flowery Branch, and 50 down into Covington, Eatonton, down in Putnam County, one of the cooler spots, a little different than our normal trend in the upper 40s at the moment. So again, we're going to continue to cool through the evening. Tomorrow morning will be chilly, as mentioned, but not nearly as cold as this morning. Down to 55 by 10 p.m., 51 2 a.m., and there are the low to mid 40s out the door tomorrow morning. So if you typically hit the road, leave the house, get in the car, 6, 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, plan on a temperature, most of the metro between 40 and maybe 44, 45 degrees. Mildest inside the core of the city. Of course, lots of pavement. And there are some clouds tonight that's kind of trapping in just a little bit more of the warmth, so we're not seeing all of that escape back up into space tonight, and that's one of the big reasons why tomorrow will be just a little bit warmer, and now winds have switched around to the south, so already some changes ongoing in our local weather pattern, kind of signaling and hinting at bigger changes that have yet to arrive. Here's a look at low temperatures. I gave you the range, but here are your specific neighborhoods and communities. Embry Hills 44, Redan 41, McDonough 41, Sugar Hill 40, Lawrenceville 40, 42 in Kennesaw, Douglasville also in the lower 40s. Notice those deeper blues towards the Savannah River up into northeast Georgia, east central Georgia, and the Midlands of South Carolina. Just a little bit cooler over there, mid to upper 30s in some of our coldest spots, northeast Georgia mountains, for example, Rabun County, Clayton, maybe the Clay County, North Carolina, Hayesville community, mid to upper 30s. Could be some patchy frost up there, but for the majority of us, not an issue. 38 Canton, 38 in Covington, 39 in LaGrange. If there is a little bit of frost, it will be patchy, and I don't think it's a big impact, of course, to that morning routine. Let's see. Isa commenting on YouTube saying, saying that they're watching this stream, I guess. And if you have a question, Issa, just give me a holler. Again, talking with folks on Atlanta News First on YouTube. We're streaming across many platforms right now, including the First Alert Weather app, Atlanta News First app, AtlantaNewsFirst.com, rather, Roku, Amazon Fire, Apple TV, basically any place you can stream. We are streaming right now on ANF Plus. And again, if you have any questions about the forecast or if you need any clarification about all the weather we're expecting this week, you can reach out on YouTube. Just give the Atlanta News First account a like, a follow, and technically you don't even have to do that to get your question answered, of course, on this particular stream. All right, city by city forecast. Talk about 70, some of the warmest temperatures afternoon-wise we have seen in months. And I think by the time the week is over, we will have seen, even the city of Atlanta, officially our warmest afternoon high temperature since late last fall, early in the winter. 71, your high temperature in Atlanta. Gainesville, 72. Athens, 73. Rome, 74. Noonan, 74. So there will be some mid-70s sprinkled in. I think low to mid-70s, pretty popular numbers tomorrow afternoon. May have to bump up these numbers just a bit. Models coming in just a little bit warmer than earlier, so may add another degree or two to the first alert forecast for high temperatures tomorrow. Closer look at the metro, high temperature-wise, tomorrow afternoon for our 5 big metro counties. This will give you an even better idea, kind of down to the more neighborhood level for tomorrow afternoon. 73 Douglasville, City South Fulton, 73 again. Probably going to have to bump up Atlanta's number just a little bit, going 72, 73 or so. Went out to DeKalb counties in the lower 70s, 72 Beaufort, 73 in Lithonia. So it will be a very warm afternoon tomorrow by seasonal standards. Again, temperatures should be in the 50s and 60s. Tomorrow we're going 70s in many spots. Even our mountain community, 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, still in the low to mid 60s. So even mountain spots, upper 60s, a fair bet. By 6 o'clock tomorrow evening, upper 60s, lower 70s. Do want to let you know, I know the focus is on Wednesday and Thursday, and did not mean to bury the lead here. We do have a first alert weather day on Wednesday for thunderstorms moving through late in the day, and then a first alert weather day Friday for widespread persistent rain. So first alert weather day meaning that weather will either be severe or have some sort of impact on your plans. That kind of a disruptive sort of scenario. Wednesday, there's a very low risk of severe weather. It's not great, but it's also not zero. Worth keeping an eye on, but storms could impact your dinner plans, and if they arrive just a little earlier, maybe the evening commute could be impacted, or any after-school plans, errands you need to run after you leave the office could all be impacted, depending on exact timing. And then as we get into Friday, widespread rain could make for damp conditions for both commutes, and certainly impact some of those Friday plans. But before all that, tomorrow's gorgeous, but notice more clouds tomorrow evening. Daytime, lots of sun, and then clouds increase tomorrow evening, and by Tuesday morning, little ripple in the atmosphere, a little storm system passing through. There could be a few scattered light rain showers. I don't think much in the metro, but if you're watching from Blue Ridge, Ellijay, Lumpkin County, Dahlonega, if you're watching from Gilmer County, Rabun County, Habersham County, those north and northeast Georgia communities up there, you could wake up to a little bit of light rain Tuesday, mainly morning, though a few spotty showers also possible in the afternoon. All right, I want to go ahead and talk about our first alert weather day, the first day that holds more impactful weather next week, and that is going to be on Wednesday. We're tracking a line of rain and storms that'll be moving in from portions of the Ohio and Tennessee river valleys, and up there the risk of severe weather will be greater. What you see on the right-hand side there, that is forecast radar at 7 p.m. Storms already moving in and will have already been impacting some communities by that point, according to this particular forecast model. Still a little bit of a disagreement there as to the exact arrival, and that is one of the bullet points. Exact timing remains a little bit uncertain for showers and thunderstorms Wednesday. However, I would say between mid-afternoon and mid-evening, mid to late evening, the most likely time period to hear thunder be impacted by some rain. I think morning plans okay. It is mainly a later day, second half of the day scenario, and could be as late as an evening and early nighttime arrival. Again, it's not pop-up showers and storms, but a line moving in from the north and west. So once we have that line forming, we'll get a better ETA as to its arrival, and I think even by Monday into Tuesday, that forecast confidence is going to continue to shoot on up. And a couple storms could be strong to severe gusty winds. The main threat, again, mainly northwest metro on up into extreme northwest Georgia, so mainly northwest of the city and where most folks live. That's where the risk of an isolated severe thunderstorm will be greatest. Nonetheless, we're watching those conditions, and if anything changes, we'll let you know right here on the ANF Plus stream. Also on Atlanta News First, and in the First Alert weather app as we get more confidence and more clarity in exactly how our Wednesday will unfold. As soon as showers and storms move through, we're going to have a fresh little batch of chillier air move in. So kind of a tricky forecast Thursday. Notice Wednesday night, so that number that's lower in between Wednesday and Thursday, that's typically our Thursday morning low when you look at our 7-day forecast. However, it's kind of a tricky deal on Thursday. The coldest temperature in that 24-hour period from midnight Thursday morning to 11:59 p.m. Thursday evening will probably be Thursday evening, maybe by 11:59 Thursday evening. Typically, the lowest, the coldest point of the day is in the morning, but one of those weird topsy-turvy days on Thursday where temperatures will be at their warmest about maybe midnight, 1, 2 a.m. early Thursday morning when most are sleeping, behind Wednesday evening storms, and then fall through the morning hours. They'll try to warm back up or recover Thursday afternoon, but we may struggle to hit the mid-50s, low to mid-50s Thursday afternoon with temperatures nearly steady, some gusty winds. It'll be a windy, brisk Thursday, lots of clouds still, but still a mostly dry day, and then rain back in the forecast. That front stalls to our south, so we'll have some chillier air filtering in, and then another little kind of ripple in the atmosphere, piece of energy moves along that front, you know, like a train moves along, and then the individual cars follow that train in the tracks. Think about the front as the tracks, and the weather system moving along it is the individual train car moving along the tracks, and that'll help, long story short, boost the rain chance on Friday. Friday, the storm risk is much lower, but there will be widespread rain potentially, and it will be more persistent than even Wednesday's rain, so it could slow the commutes, perhaps both potentially. and make it a little bit harder to get those Friday plans in. Do notice how chilly it is. Temperatures stuck in the upper 40s and 50s with breezy winds continuing, gradually drying out as we get into next weekend. I don't think it's a perfect 10 out of 10, but improving weather, hopefully with any luck, as we get into Saturday, Sunday. Some data, the tools we use to develop the first alert forecast, hinting that maybe some of the clouds and the rain could linger into the weekend. However, I will say forecast models have backed off on that just a little bit. So it is possible there could be a few showers still around. That's why we're going to keep that rain chance in the first alert forecast on our Saturday. But I think as the weekend goes on, we'll dry out, and with any luck, we will clear back out. But still something to watch, and that's a part of the forecast that day 6, day 7 that may change just a little bit as we get and go through the coming work week. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in. We're about 25 minutes into this total stream. Of course, hopefully you caught the latest news headlines with Karli Barnett earlier. If you didn't, we're recapping it all, first alert forecast and otherwise, on Atlanta News First at 10 p.m. on Peachtree TV, Atlanta's CW affiliate. We'll have some new data even coming in by then. Don't anticipate too many changes to the forecast, but fresh data, fresh forecast for you tonight at 10, and then the late news at 11 back on ANF, Atlanta News First. You wake up with the morning team tomorrow morning starting at 4:30, and we will always keep you updated at atlantanewsfirst.com. And again, the app is a really good tool, especially on really busy days, whether it's a busy weekend day or heading into new work week. Just search First Alert Weather or Atlanta News First in your app or Google Play Store. It's a quick and easy download. Will take you only about 30 to 45 seconds, and you can hopefully see that video up at the top of the app. Those are custom videos, specific parts of the forecast that we can break out and elaborate more on, kind of like this ANF Plus stream. And we send those out multiple times a day just to make sure, even if you're on the go and you miss the newscast, you're never more than a couple clicks away from the first alert forecast. Again, I want to thank you for tuning in and for watching. Time now is 8:36. Have a wonderful rest of your evening. Do get outside if you've been missing the outdoor time, and enjoy your Monday. It's going to be a stunner, but there is rain and storms in the forecast Wednesday, and then a chilly rain, widespread soaking rain possibly on our Friday. Full forecast and your latest First Alert News headlines coming up tonight, starting at 10 p.m.